All right, YouTube, once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast talking Auburn sports. Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to the channel, Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle. Auburn coming off an 82-60, 22-point win over Georgia on yesterday. Now, I'll admit, guys, I thought this was going to be a game that Auburn might have had a little trouble with. They changed the time of the game. It was going to be a primetime game, actually, probably going to have Dick Vitale and some of the others there. But because of weather in East Central Alabama threatening to be kind of on the adverse side, went ahead and changed the time to 12 o'clock Eastern time in that particular ball game. Now, I thought that Auburn would have somewhat of a difficult time here because, first of all, coming off two very good SEC wins over Vanderbilt and Mississippi State on the road, I thought this would be somewhat of a trap game. So the fact that Auburn won this game by 22 points was pretty surprising to me. And the most impressive thing was how Auburn actually won this game. In order to beat a team like Georgia, who's very talented, they actually played pretty well against ranked opponents, especially against Michigan State, where Georgia's leading scorer had a very good showing in those particular games. And the guy we're talking about is Anthony Edwards, who had 18 points against Auburn, but he tended to have pretty good showings against those top-ranked teams. Actually had his season high of 37 points against Michigan State. And Auburn did a very good job of keeping him from being not only a factor in the game, but when you have a leading scorer like Anthony Edwards, you have a guy that actually can catalyze the guys around him. And that's something that Auburn did an excellent job of keeping him at bay and keeping him from providing that particular leadership that is needed to pull an upset off against the number 5 team in the country down in Auburn. Now, another good thing that I thought is Auburn did a great job of point distribution. Had a lot of contributions off the bench, and they're playing very well on defense, only holding Georgia to 38% from the field. Now, that's really important because Georgia couldn't get a rhythm going. And if you're going to be a team that's going to upset a top 10 basketball team, you definitely have to shoot very well from the field. And something that Auburn that doesn't tend to do often is they won the rebound battle. Now, what I think Auburn needs to avoid, though, is if you think about the 2018-2019 season, Auburn kind of started off hot like this, but then because of injury and because of, loss of momentum, wound up kind of coasting into the NCAA tournament on fumes, just barely winning the SEC championship outright. That's something that Auburn wants to avoid. So what I like about this Auburn team is that they continue to improve and they don't panic when their shots don't fall, because with the Bruce Pearl coach team, their team is going to shoot and they're going to continue to shoot. And one thing I like about that is that he doesn't discourage his team from doing what their strengths are, is that shooting from the outside of the perimeter. They don't depend on a lot of mid-range shots. They do have a lot more help inside with putbacks and things of that nature, especially out of Austin Wiley. Although Austin Wiley only had 8 points, he's still contributing with rebounds, and he's becoming a really nice factor inside at 6'11", about 250, 260 pounds, adding that tall presence down in the paint. So this was a huge win for Auburn. I really thought that this would be a game where Auburn struggled and got caught napping, but it just shows how disciplined this team is and how this team is really apt to continue to improve. And I think going into the Alabama game in the next couple of days, Alabama is a very athletic team as well. But Auburn is continuing to improve. They're continuing to show why they are one of the top teams in the country. If you look at how this season started out, a lot of the sports analysts did not believe that Auburn would be able to duplicate their efforts from a year before. Well, I mean, you lose your lose your backcourt, and it just was thought that it would be hard to replace that particular experience and that particular talent. But Auburn is getting off to a great start and continuing to do the things that it takes to develop and to cultivate a championship type atmosphere down in Auburn. So I'm really excited about what's happening there. And just look out for Auburn within the next couple of days. I mean, in the next couple of weeks, as they starting out 3-0 in the SEC. A much of a surprise to most of the people out there. Samir Doughty had a great game, 17 points. He was 6 of 12 from the field, 3 for 7 from three-point range. That's very important if you're going to have a presence in the top 25. Now, I project that with this win over Georgia, when the polls come out probably tomorrow within the next couple of days, I would be shocked if Auburn is not ranked within probably number 3 or somewhere around in there. But what I'm seeing with this Auburn team is they're not allowing the sports media and the rankings to dictate how they play ball. They're continuing to improve. This particular game was the first one that Auburn was able to actually sustain a lead, because what we've seen before, Auburn gets up 12 points, the team comes back to within about 3 or 4, but this game there was never any doubt. Huge win for the Auburn Tigers. Good luck to the Tigers moving forward. 82-60 win over a very talented Georgia basketball team. It's a good thing that Auburn faced Georgia and Vanderbilt at this time of the year, because I think when you look at the end of the season, you're going to see teams like Vanderbilt and Georgia really start to catch their stride and really start to, get some momentum and carry that into the tournament. Auburn went on and got those teams out of the way, because we see it all the time. Teams that start out kind of slow, we know they have talent. They're just right there as far as getting those victories, but just can't pull them off. But they start to pull it off in the middle of the season on into the tournament and wind up sneaking into a spot in the NCAA tournament. Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast. I want to congratulate the Auburn Tigers on a 15-0 start, undefeated in the SEC. Auburn is having a great year as far as their athletics department. 9-4 for the football team. Had several guys, including Derek Brown, who are All-Americans. So a great year for the Auburn athletic department, and the basketball team is carrying on as such. Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Of course, we have the national championship game that will be taking place tomorrow between LSU and SEC representative, whom Auburn played very well against. Had an opportunity late to win the game. You talk about if Auburn was able to recover that onside kick, you might have been LSU might not have even been there, but nonetheless, a great showing by LSU this particular season. Joe Burrow, one of the best quarterbacks in the country, was proven to be the best player in the country, winning the Heisman Trophy for the LSU Tigers, bringing that trophy back to the Southeastern Conference. We look forward to seeing that game tomorrow, as Joe Burrow has continued to be sensational in his particular trek as a LSU Tiger and an SEC football player. Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle.